the CrossFit Open. How did you find that compared to previous years?
Um,
And how did you go?
I did all right. I did okay. I wasn't at a position where I was doing a ring muscle ups like a year ago, so to do rings was great for me, and to do them in a competitive, environment, was great. But my scores did slightly taper off. I still did quite well. I finished in the top 5% in the UK.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. I suppose a couple of years ago when I did the Open, or I've done the Open. I didn't do it actually last year. I did the workout, so I didn't sign up for other reasons. But CrossFit, it's kind of controversial at times. But I didn't do it last year. I didn't give my money to the company last year. But before I just scraped in, and then this year, but I got in quite easily to quarters. But as you get better, your expectations rise, and who you're comparing yourself to rises. So like even though I was in the top 5%, I was like, I'm still looking at guys who are in the top 1% or the top 2%. So you actually almost have the same feelings that you did when you just scraped in, which is probably something you need to address. But yeah,
It's that fine line where it's like you want to be proud of yourself for doing it, but then also looking at how can you improve if you want to improve,
yeah.
rather than letting the feeling of maybe disappointment or I wish I could have done better. I knew I could have done the push. Like,
Yes.
also be proud of like what you achieved, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, take a moment to go pat yourself on the back, or those around you who you work with, whether it be your coach in the gym or you have an online coach or whoever, or your physio. Just kind of celebrate that you've moved on, because you probably worked hard to do that. Yeah, and I think there's even good research to show in sports psychology that like taking moments to stop and kind of be grateful for how far you've come, maintain longevity. Because I do think that, like, I think there is training hacks, there is like science out there, there is some coaches are maybe better than others, but longevity. How many years have you been competing for, and how many years have you been consistently training? That is like the biggest factor of success, the biggest correlation, you could say. You have to do the 5, 6, 7, 8 years to build up that tissue capacity, build up that aerobic system. You can't really put yourself in the bin for 6 months and expect to reach semis or to go, sub 1 hour in high rocks. It takes time. It takes time.
Definitely. Well, I think a lot of my audience aren't too familiar with the CrossFit world. How would you really summarize what CrossFit is? And is it open to everyone? Is it just for the people who are genetically talented?
It's definitely open to everyone, although it doesn't look like it, and it can be quite intimidating if you stand outside a gym and look in.
But shirts off and everything.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing. At times, maybe there's maybe a bit too much skin around, and I've probably been guilty of that myself. The last year, interesting. The last year, as I've gotten fitter, I take my top off less, which probably means I'm not like overheating as much. In before, I used to never wear my top, because in other sports, no, High Rocks has a culture of not wearing.
Oh, massive.
Yeah.
Did you see the April Fool's Day post?
No.
Oh, it was like we're gonna add a rule, a 67-second penalty rule for people who had a shirt off or something. It's on April Fool's.
Yeah.
It's quite funny actually.
Yeah.
Hey, just a quick announcement before we return to the podcast. If you're someone who's been feeling a bit stuck lately, maybe you're switching careers, rebuilding your routine, or just trying to get your life together, I get it. That's exactly why I write the Midweek Motivation newsletter, where every week I share real, honest thoughts on training, mindset, and the messy process of figuring life out. Especially for guys like us, we're in our 20s and 30s, just trying to get ahead in our careers, fitness, and performance. It's short and it's personal, and it might just give you the push you need during the middle of the week when it's least motivating. You can subscribe using the link in the show notes below, or go to substack.com and search up Midweek Motivation. All right, let's get back to the podcast.
A lot of coaches will criticize their athletes if they start with a t-shirt on and then they'll take it off mid-workout. But if it's like an 8-minute time cap, like that could be 20 seconds. Like, don't be faffing around. Like, either wear the top or don't.
Right.
You don't be stripping off when you should be cycling the barbell or doing your burpees or whatever. So what is CrossFit? Listen, CrossFit's a mix of things, and it's always developing. So new movements are always being introduced, but it's like a mixture of Olympic weightlifting, gymnastics, and endurance. That's how I would. There's probably a better definition. Like CrossFit do have their own definition of it, but that's Well, I see it as its definition.
agree, yeah.
You know, it's a combination of all those put into one competition, multiple events, you know, depending on the event, on the competition, you do between 4 to 8 events. And I think another way to think of it is like time domain. So like you'll be asked to do a workout that lasts 1 minute. You'll be asked to do a workout that lasts 12 minutes. That's obviously going to tax something differently.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of skill in it. I think that's probably why people think it's intimidating. And if I be controversial for a second, why I think Hyrox has boomed is because it doesn't have those barriers to entry.
Yeah.
Like CrossFit does, you know,
100%.
handstand walking, high level gymnastics. Yeah, and I think that's why maybe people think, oh, you need to be gifted to do Hyroxes, you need to be able to do those things, or to do CrossFit, you need to be able to do those things. My answer to that is that with CrossFit, there's a honeymoon period. Like everyone, when they start CrossFit, is going to the games. Like they start watching the Netflix documentaries, they're like, I'm going to be her or him, and like they're super enthusiastic, and that's great. But that tapers off when, you know, you maybe start picking up injuries, or you start realizing that, like, although I'm working on my toes to bar, I can't do it every day because my hands are going to tear or my hands are going to get tender.
Yeah.
So you have to just stick with it, and that's when people tend to fall off.
Yeah.
Even at London weightlifting before, or men's now, whenever I would ask people like why did they go from CrossFit into Olympic lifting, it's because they were like, oh, the gymnastics was just boring.
Really?
Yeah, because what happens is that, like, if you want to work on your gymnastics as like maybe someone who's new in CrossFit, you have to do like sessions where you're not going to be sweating loads. You're going to be spending 20-30 minutes working on technique, where people that only have an hour to train or even less, they want the, you know, the high endorphins, intense session. A good coach can do both though, so.
Well, see, I would say the same thing about Olympic lifting. If you're learning that, there's going to be sessions where you're not, a lot of sessions where you're not lifting heavy.
Yeah.
It's all about technique.
I probably need a bit more of them actually. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think interestingly, Olympic lifting is a good example of the same thing. You're not going to go in and max out every day or try hit a PB. You're going to have to do like technique work and speed work and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you stick with it, that's what the stuff that reaps the rewards.
Definitely.
In CrossFit, it's the exact same, but some people just fall off. But listen, that's, as long as they keep engaged with fitness, that's fine.